गुड आफ्टरनून विष्णु। देखो तुम्हारे लिए तो वैसे फायदा ही है ये टाइम। क्यों? क्योंकि तुम मान के चलो घर गए, खाना पीना खाए और आ जाओ, जाके अपना फिर अपना रेस्ट करो जो करना है। नहीं क्या हो जाएगा? ऑप्शनल जब तक चालू होगा तब तक हम खत्म हो जाएंगे, तो हम कोर्स कब चालू हो जाएगा? चलो तब तक देखते हैं, अभी 1 मई तक करो। कौन? वो टाइम ज्यादा अच्छा था। अब यार क्या करें, समय की बड़ी मार है सब कुछ जो है। चलो बताओ लास्ट थिंग क्या था, व्हाट वी डिस्कस्ड। ऑलमोस्ट एवरी एंगल तो हमने डिस्कस कर ही लिया है, ठीक है, चाइना और इंडिया के रिलेशंस का। अभी एक छोटी सी बात है, न्यूक्लियर डिप्लोमेसी करना था शायद हमें ना। हाँ तो देखो न्यूक्लियर डिप्लोमेसी में क्या हुआ कि 1962 वाज द फेज कि जिस समय जो है टेंशन थोड़ी ज्यादा थी विद रिगार्ड्स टू द न्यूक्लियर थिंग्स। उसके बाद से फिर क्या हुआ कि अल्टीमेटली साइनो इंडिया वॉर तो खत्म हुई। साइनो इंडिया वॉर के बाद में हमारा ये था कि भाई फिर पाकिस्तान सॉरी चाइना ने भी जस्ट 2 साल बाद, जस्ट आफ्टर 2 years, दिया यूर ऑनलाइन। वाई आर यू नॉट
Sir,
फॉलोइंग
I
अप?
didn't have the time to travel.
अच्छा यू आर ट्रैवलिंग।
No, I didn't have the time to travel, so I'm attending online today.
ओके अच्छा चलो ठीक है। तो बट स्टिल ट्राई टू कम ऑफलाइन इफ पॉसिबल, नॉट टुडे बट फ्रॉम टुमारो ऑनवर्ड्स। अच्छा अभी देखो हियर व्हाट द थिंग इज कि 64 में, इन 1964 चाइना आल्सो एंटर्ड द न्यूक्लियर रेस, ऑलराइट। नाउ इन 1964 चाइना एंटर्ड दिस रेस एंड आफ्टर दैट इट आल्सो कंडक्टेड इट्स फर्स्ट न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट. Now it became a even greater threat for India, all right. We just had 2 years before, we just had war with China, and now it became a nuclear power state, all right. And our nuclear weaponization program was not going on abhi utna acha, it was not going on smoothly, all right. We just started the race for missile, and our first missile was carried on a bicycle, all right. So that's a that's a time from where we have come to this time where we are like producing our own ballistic missiles and nuclear energy, all right. So now it entered the nuclear race in 1964, and after which India also entered this nuclear race in 1974, 10 years after China, all right. So at that time we didn't recognize ourselves as a nuclear weapon state. We were not having any formal policy with regards to the nuclear weapon, all right. But you remember when we conducted our Pokhran 2 test in 1998, at that time though we officially declared that we conducted this nuclear test because we face a threat from China. Now China's argument was that it is wrong on part of India that they are considering us as a threat because we are not a threat, and they basically discouraged India's this statement, all right. So now what happened? China declared its nuclear policy, and China's nuclear policy were based on two elements. One was NFU, that was no first use policy, and another was minimum credible deterrence. Okay, this is what was adopted by us also. All right. So no first use, that we will not use the nuclear weapon for the first time against any non-nuclear state, all right. And minimum credible deterrence means, now if someone will ask that country that is having minimum credible deterrence as their policy, that what is the level that you are going to enrich your nuclear capability, what is the level that after reaching that level you will stop. So the answer will be that whatever minimum quantity is required to deter any kind of attack from any other state, all right. Now if you will ask the Indian government that what is our expectation to keep our nuclear a program to make the nuclear bomb. So the argument of the government is that there is no as such fixed limit, but we will be proliferating our nuclear capacities to the level that it will ensure a minimum credible deterrence. It will strategically deter any other state from even thinking of using nuclear weapon against us. All right. So the answer will be minimum credible deterrence. All right. Then we will study our India's nuclear policy. At that time, I will make you explain these things, and these were the two things that were declared by China also to be as a part of their nuclear policy. All right. So just write this thing. I haven't dictated anything, right? आज बहुत लिखना है. Today I have to write so many things. Okay. So just write. After the Sino-India War, the global attention shifted towards nuclear stability. After the Sino-India War, the global tensions shifted towards nuclear stability. You remember that in 1962 there was one another event, global event also, that was Cuban Missile Crisis. So just after 1 year of the Cuban Missile Crisis, another PTBT was signed. That was Partial Test Ban Treaty in 1963. All right. So it was signed. India supported the signing of PTBT. Okay, to ensure the long-term commitment of India also, and officially, but see, China here refused to sign. Okay, China refused to sign this PTBT. Right. In 1963, 1 year after Cuban Missile Crisis, PTBT was signed. Partial Test Ban Treaty was signed in 1963. All right, PTBT was signed in 1963. Okay, just right. India supported and signed the treaty as a part of India supported and signed the treaty as a part of India's long-term commitments. India's long-term commitment to disarmament. To disarmament. Sorry. To disarmament. To disarmament. Okay. So it showed our commitment, है ना? But China refused to ratify this treaty. And this was an early divergence. And this was an early divergence in nuclear approach between India and China. Divergence in nuclear approaches between India and China. ठीक है? बाकी आज बच्चे क्यों नहीं है? हमारे सब दोस्त मित्र कहाँ हैं सब? एक ही दोस्त है? क्यों एक ही है? ज्यादा दोस्त की जरूरत नहीं है. तुम्हारी कितनी दोस्त है? चीज भाई, क्या था ये? हाँ, योर ऑल फ्रेंड्स. दोस्ती किया करो, ठीक है? दोस्त बनाओ, दोस्तों की जरूरत होती है, ठीक है? नहीं तो सोशलाइजेशन भी बहुत जरूरी है. ये एग्जाम कभी ये नहीं बोलता कि डोंट बी सोशल, बी सोशल, ठीक है? तो चलो अब आगे लिखो, एक नो सब हेडिंग डालो, चाइनाज एंट्री टू, या हाँ, चाइनाज एंट्री इन न्यूक्लियर आर्म्स रेस, in bracket you can write 1964, right? In 1964 China conducted its, कहाँ थे भाई, क्या लग रहे हैं, अच्छा जार रखे थे, अच्छा। In 1964 China conducted its first nuclear test, India conducted its first nuclear test and entered the League of Nuclear Powers, and entered the League of Nuclear Powers, ओके okay? हाँ ठीक है, 1964 में इन्होंने कंडक्ट कर लिया, ठीक है। अब देखो इसका इफेक्ट क्या, इंडिया के लिए एक और सिक्योरिटी चैलेंज जुड़ गया। इन द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट राइट, इट इंट्रोड्यूस्ड अ न्यू सिक्योरिटी चैलेंज फॉर इंडिया। और अभी तक क्या कम इश्यूज थे इंडिया और चाइना के बायलैटरल रिलेशंस में, अ न्यूक्लियर एंगल आल्सो केम, है ना। इंट्रोड्यूस्ड अ न्यू सिक्योरिटी चैलेंज फॉर इंडिया, क्या लिख दी तुम, security challenge for India, and added a nuclear dimension to India and China's bilateral relations. अभी देखो इसके ठीक 10 साल बाद इंडिया also entered and became nuclear capable state, but did not started rigorous policy of weaponization. हमने न्यूक्लियर कैपेबिलिटी को पोर्ट्रे किया था 74 में, बट हमने क्या नहीं स्टार्ट किया, हमने रिगरस न्यूक्लियर प्रोग्राम नहीं स्टार्ट किया, ठीक है। तो लिखो इसमें, इन 1974 इंडिया कंडक्टेड इट्स फर्स्ट न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट and demonstrated her nuclear capabilities and demonstrated her nuclear capabilities but avoided any immediate weaponization program, ठीक है, but avoided any immediate weaponization program, ठीक है, बट हमने कोई ऐसा रिगरस वेपनाइजेशन प्रोग्राम को स्टार्ट नहीं किया। ऑलराइट, कोई डाउट इसमें, ठीक है। तो ऐसा लिख लो, इंडिया अडॉप्टेड अ रिस्ट्रेन्ड न्यूक्लियर पोस्चर, इंडिया अडॉप्टेड अ रिस्ट्रेन्ड न्यूक्लियर पोस्चर एंड फोकस्ड मोर ऑन डिटरेंस। अभी हमारा फोकस ज्यादा किस पर था, डेटरेंस पर था, हमें बस किसी भी प्रकार के अटैक को डेटर करना था। हमने दिखाया कि देखो जी हमारे पास भी न्यूक्लियर कैपेबिलिटी है, बट हम अभी वेपन नहीं बना रहे हैं, ठीक है। तो अब देखो चाइना क्यों कर रहा था न्यूक्लियराइजेशन, व्हाई चाइना वाज डूइंग इट्स न्यूक्लियराइजेशन, बिकॉज द मोटिव वाज टू compete with यूएस एंड यूएसएसआर, ठीक है। उसका तो था कि उसने कभी दिखाया नहीं एक्सप्लिसिटली, ठीक है। और बेसिकली और ये भी बात है कि उसने ये तो कभी नहीं कहा कि इंडिया के अगेंस्ट जो है न्यूक्लियराइजेशन कर रहा है, उसका मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव था टू बेसिकली फाइट इन आर्म्स रेस विद चाइना एंड विद यूएसएसआर एंड यूएसए, ठीक है। तो इंडिया ने लेकिन जो है परसीव कर लिया दूसरी तरीके से, गलत किया सही किया, आई एम नॉट कमेंटिंग ऑन दैट, बट इंडिया में एक फियर आ गया, ठीक है, तो कि भाई चाइना कुड यूज फॉर स्ट्रेटेजिक कोअर्जन अगेंस्ट इंडिया, ठीक है। तो दैट वाज द मेन रीजन कि अब इससे क्या हुआ कि इससे एक सिक्योरिटी गैप और जो है बढ़ा, ठीक है, इससे एक डर का माहौल और बढ़ा, और जो एक बोलते हैं ना कि मिस कम्युनिकेशन सस्पिशन, वो और बढ़ा इंडिया और चाइना के बीच में, ठीक है। वैसे लिख लो कि चाइनाज मोटिवेशन बिहाइंड इट्स न्यूक्लियराइजेशन, China's motivation behind its nuclearization was driven by threats from USA and USSR, ठीक है, उसको तो थ्रेट था यूएसए और यूएसएसआर से, ऑल राइट। But never explicitly indicated the intent to use its nuclear weapon against India. But never explicitly indicated its intent to use nuclear weapon against India. Right, next point. But on the other hand, India feared that China, but on the other hand, India feared that China could use the nuclear weapons for strategic coercion. Could use the nuclear weapons for strategic coercion. ठीक है? And her nuclear status could help China to dominate Asia. ठीक है, ये इंडिया को लगता था। Could help China dominate Asia. ठीक है जी, क्लियर, ओके। तो अब देखो इससे क्या बढ़ा, इससे गैप, तो ऐसे लिख लो, दिस परसेप्शन वाइडेंड द गैप बिटवीन द टू कंट्रीज। अब देखो यहां पर अगर हम बात करें तो फिर इस गैप को कम करने के लिए 74 में, ईयर कौन सा था, ईयर यही था, ईयर जो है मैंने नहीं मेंशन किया हुआ, बट इसी दौरान जब हमने जो है कंडक्ट किया न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट, इसी दौरान, क्योंकि चाइना वाज गेटिंग टू नो दिस थिंग दैट वी आर फियरिंग, है ना, we have a perception that China can basically use its nuclear weapons, so they clearly mentioned and deliberately said that our purpose of nuclearization or our nuclear policy is based on two pillars: minimum credible deterrence and NFU, no first use policy. All right, so just write the next point. China clarified its nuclear policy, a nuclear doctrine. The key principles of which were minimum credible deterrence, no first use, ठीक है, minimum credible deterrence and no first use, ठीक है, so लिख लो। अब इससे भी नाउ सी here in my optional class also today only I am going to teach this thing, but that is basically the international law. See what happens is now ऐसा होता है. देखो, in international law what happens, just to give you a glimpse of that, in international law this thing happens. See, the laws at the international level are not having jaws in the sense to bite someone and to reinforce them, and to follow that. The international level, the laws only work till the extent they are able to basically be flexible. But the time the laws will think that the time demands something more, the laws are easily broken at the international level, है ना? So at the international level, countries do whatever suits them, है ना? Laws are like chain, but international law, no one knows whether they are the chain of iron or they are the chain of paper. No one knows this thing, है ना? So here it is basically, okay, now this declaration by China, है ना, just theoretically clarified the things. It just theoretically clarified. Okay, can theoretically see that India will now think that no, China is not a threat, but in practice this security gap or the dilemma still widened between India and China, right? But see, and one more event happened. One more event happened when we were fighting war with Pakistan in 1971. At that time, it is a thing that is not widely spoken about, but America, US, to support Pakistan in India's war against Pakistan in 1971, they deployed their USS Enterprise. Okay, they deployed their USS Enterprise ship in Bay of Bengal to threaten India. Okay, and now this event also told us that we cannot leave our weaponization program. We will have to take forward our weaponization program. All right. And India thought this in a very right way. Now we are just seeing Ukraine. And now Ukraine left its nuclear capabilities and now see what happened with them. है कि नहीं? The major issue, the preemptive strike conducted by USA and Israel on Iran, the major reason is now Iran is trying to be a nuclear weapon state, and that USA and Israel are considering it as their existential crisis, and that is the main reason why they preemptively attacked on Iran. So this no one wants any state to be nuclear capable state. Why? Because when the another state see nuclear weapons are the weapon of peace rather than, this is a very new dimension that I'm going to tell you. Nuclear weapons are called as weapons of peace. How? They are the weapons to destroy, but they are in reality the weapon of peace. Why India and Pakistan, after having the conflict recently, again turned back to status quo? Why India did not launch a full-scale war against Pakistan? Because we know that we are more superior in terms of our military in that capability. Because they have nuclear weapons. So now theoretically only this declaration of the policy by China lessened the tensions between India and China, but the fear was still there. And by the deployment of USS Enterprise in the Bay of Bengal, this fear even widened, right? Additionally, there was another security concern for India. In 1971, during the Indo-Pakistani War of Indo-Pakistani War, breaking. My voice is still breaking. Hmm? Is it still breaking? or fine?
No, sir. Sir, this new point, will it come under that subheading or the main heading?
Continuation. दिया आवाज सही नहीं आ रही है.
Sir, it is.
It is okay or not okay?
Like for me, it's okay.
दिया के लिए सब ओके है. हाँ दिया.
Sir, I actually had like a doubt.
अब बोलो. Please tell.
No, like this new point, will it come under the subheading or the
I
main
told you
heading?
na. It will be continuation of the point that I just made you write before.
Okay, okay.
No separate heading required. ठीक है. दिया पूछती है क्वेश्चन तो कितना परेशान होके पूछती है. सर will this come? अरे स्टडी बट चिल होके. दिया सुन रहे हो?
सर मैं परेशान नहीं हूँ.
बोली नहीं
सर आई
तुम्हारी
एम
आवाज नहीं.
चिल.
ओ यू आर चिल. ओके चलो. सो नाउ सी क्या बताया लास्ट. The US deployed the USS Enterprise in Bay of Bengal. USS Enterprise in Bay of Bengal. Okay. And this heightened India's sense of strategic vulnerability. This heightened India's sense of strategic vulnerability. Now, finally, okay, so finally in 1985, अरे एक second, finally in 1985, what happened in 1985? There is a international organization that is IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. So finally in 1985, China joined IAEA, okay, and it even signed CTBT, Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, in 1996. All right. So after that, somewhat lessening of the tensions were there. Okay. So officially now, because China was supporting the non-proliferation regime, so at that point it became clear to us कि okay, now we can sense something good, okay, from China. And ultimately 1998 Pokhran 2 was a turning point for India, after which we conducted our second nuclear test, and as stated by Atal Bihari Vajpayee, because a threat from China was there, that's why we conducted this. Okay. And now again one more turning point. China now started supporting Pakistan's nuclear program. Now that was again a very big thing. Okay. So when we conducted Pokhran 2, China strongly criticized India. Okay. On one side, it strongly criticized India, but on another side, it was supporting Pakistan. All right. There were some evidence, not evidence exactly, but there were some reports even claiming that China is transferring some nuclear technology to Pakistan and other countries also. Okay. So now China threat theory became a major point of friction. All right. So, but after 1998, in 1999, our foreign minister Jaswant Singh went to China. Okay. Now, after that, somewhat easing of tensions were there. All right. So, just write this down. Put a heading: China's shift to non-proliferation regime. China's shift to non-proliferation regime. Right. China joined the International Atomic Energy Agency. China joined International Atomic Energy Agency in 1985 and became a signatory to comprehensive test ban treaty in 1996. a signatory, सिग्नेचर करते हो ना, तो कर लोगे तो सिग्नेटरी बन जाओगे, वही became a signatory to comprehensive test ban treaty, comprehensive test ban treaty in 1996. Vishnu, am I audible to you now? Write the next point. बताओ. Your voice is not audible. I would suggest you to rejoin. Right. लिख लिया. Officially China began supporting. लिखा. तो लिखो. ये कहाँ लिखा तो लिखो. Officially China began supporting non-proliferation efforts. Supporting non-proliferation efforts. Next, put a heading: China's response to Pokhran 2. China's response to Pokhran 2. China strongly criticized India after conducting the Pokhran 2 test. All right. So, and ऐसे भी लिख लो. And her argument was that India wrongly portrayed China as a threat. फिर फाइनली जाकर के कुछ लास्ट में 98 में some diplomatic relaxations were there, some sort of easing things were there, visits happened, all right. After that, things got normalized. Okay, so right, put a heading: diplomatic recovery after 1998. All right, लिखो. Despite tensions, both countries took steps to restore dialogue. Despite tensions, both countries took steps to restore tensions. Full stop. In 1999, Jaswant Singh visited China. Foreign minister थे, ठीक है, he was a foreign minister of India. Okay, China began softening its stance as India improved. China also began softening its stance as India improved its ties with US, Russia, and France. As India improved its ties with US, Russia, and France. In the next point, right, both countries now follow no first use policy. Both countries now follow no first use policy, and this reduces the likelihood of direct nuclear conflict. Reduces the likelihood of any direct nuclear conflict. Any direct nuclear conflict. बॉर्डर इशू भी हो गया, ठीक है, फ्रंटियर इशू भी हो गया, ठीक है, इम्पोर्टेंस फ्रंटियर पोस्ट 62 वाला भी हो गया, डी हाइपनाइजेशन. देखो, there is one very important thing, ठीक है, short में we will do this. Okay, there is one Pakistan factor in India-China relations also. ठीक है, how this Pakistan factor, actually if you will see that there is one region, ठीक है, so there is this Aksai Chin, okay, and from this Aksai Chin and going to POK, there is direct connectivity between India and China, sorry, Pakistan and China. All right. So, and they have used Indian territory because that is officially and technically a part of India. So, they both have used that territory to basically contact with each other. Okay. Otherwise, apart from that, if that territory will be with India, then there is no actual means of communicating from China to Pakistan. All right. And China and Pakistan are considered to be as a, I would say, all-weather friend. Okay, they are all-weather friend, and that is very similar to the Kautilya's Mandala theory. What Kautilya's Mandala theory says, कि now, for example, you both don't know each other. All right, you both don't have any contact with each other. Now, if I and you are having enmity, okay, and she is also having enmity with you, then we both will be friends. Isn't it true? So, for example, now India is having enmity with China and India is having enmity with Pakistan. So that is the major reason why, by following the Kautilya's Mandala theory, Pakistan and China are all-weather friends. Okay, so that is the main reason. Put the heading Pakistan factor in India-China relations. Okay, all right. The relationship between China and Pakistan is often described as an all-weather friendship. See, that is why it is stated now in international relation, no ideology actually works. Okay, if ideology would have worked, then the model that was followed by China and Pakistan was very different. क्या लिख रहे हो क्या अभी? Very slow, very slow. इतने slow हो तुम लोग. क्या लिख रहा था? लिखवा रहा था. Often described as all-weather friendship. क्या बात, आज कॉलेज में ज्यादा काम हो गया क्या? हाँ? कैसे थक गया आज? ज्यादा काम था. क्या काम था आज? वाइवा वगैरह था. कैसा हुआ? क्या सब्जेक्ट है तुम्हारा? क्या पूछा वाइवा में? किसका? सही था. So now also right, during the Cold War, China and Pakistan cooperated strategically. During the Cold War, China and Pakistan cooperated strategically and shared common interest against India. and shared common interest against India. Right, next point. After the Cold War, देखो after this what happened na, there came the leader, Chinese premier, that is after this there is a leader Deng Xiaoping. Okay, so this Deng Xiaoping came there. Okay, and under Deng Xiaoping he basically started the modernization program in China. Okay, and as a part of modernization its growth was projecting very high. And after the Cold War phase, not just Pakistan but China diversified its interest in Asia and African countries also. Okay, so right, in the post Cold War phase under Deng Xiaoping, XI Deng Xiaoping, under Deng Xiaoping, China shifted the focus towards economic growth. China shifted the focus towards economic growth and regional stability. And regional stability. As a result, China began to prefer stable South Asia. देखो, let me show you the map. इस मैप में यार एक इंस्टीट्यूट का नाम नहीं शो नहीं. Actually, just to tell you this, for example, this is, let's say, Pakistan. All right. Now here lies this China. Okay. Here lies this China. All right. This territory, Gilgit Baltistan, actually belongs to us. All right. Shaksagam Valley belongs to us. All right. Aksai Chin belongs to us. Okay. Now this portion that I just referred to, this and here like this, China and Pakistan are basically from Islamabad to Karachi. They are like they have started building their connectivity project, and that project is actually called as CPEC, China Pakistan Economic Corridor. Now CPEC is a very big irritant for India, even a irritant for ध्यान का है यहाँ पे क्या सोच रही हो घर की याद आ रही है पढ़ो चुपचाप से ठीक है अभी देखो दिस सीपेक चाइना पाकिस्तान इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर now this China Pakistan economic corridor has become a very big irritant to India and China relation because that CPEC, the part of this CPEC that is passing from Karakoram range, that is Karakoram highway, that is an integral territory of India. Now their project is passing through Indian territory on which we have so many apprehensions. All right. So put a heading. What? Yeah, question. Write one question. What is the strategic importance of Pakistan for China? From China, there is like in the CPEC, there is see from here in China till here is in Karachi. There is a nearby Karachi. There is a Gwadar port. Okay, so this railway project is there. Gwadar project is being developed there. Okay, and even it is like what? See, there is one Xinjiang province. Have you heard about this? In China, there is one Xinjiang province. Okay, and in Xinjiang province, there are so many elements of extremism. Okay, so China even require Pakistan to manage that extremism there in Xinjiang. So these are the multiple factors. Okay, have you written the question? So just write. China's relationship with Pakistan serves multi-strategic purposes.
Sir, can you please repeat the point?
Why not? China's relationship with Pakistan serves multiple strategic purposes. Okay. Now see, the first is Pakistan is a Muslim majority country. China is a communist country. Doesn't follows any religion, right? Now, for the entry of China to the Muslim world, for the acceptance of China in the Muslim world, Pakistan stands to be a gateway for that. Okay, right. The first point, Pakistan acts as a gateway for China. Pakistan acts as a gateway for China into Muslim majority countries. Into Muslim majority countries. All right. Second, right, cooperation with China, with Pakistan helps China in managing extremism in Xinjiang province of China. In Xinjiang province of China. Right. Next point. This enhances China's trade route and regional influence. Regional influence. Okay. So now one more thing here. Now what is the stand of China on Kashmir? Heading लिख दो, question लिखो. What is the stand of China on Kashmir? You people tell what could have been the stand. बोलो विष्णु, हर्षिका, दिया, बताओ. Tell me. Vishnu, you tell me. What can you expect? Diya? Diya? Where are you?
Yes, I'm here. Sir, they probably sided with Pakistan.
See, it. I told you na in the evolution classes, I told you one thing, that when Jawaharlal Nehru took the issue of Kashmir to UN, UN has proposed 3 steps formula. Okay. The first step is Pakistan will reduce its military forces, India will demilitarize that zone, and then a plebiscite will be conducted. So China demands the conduction of plebiscite in the region. Okay. Plebiscite is an instrument of direct democracy by which the people gives their opinion, shares their opinion, okay, of like with whom they want to live. All right. So just write. During the Cold War, during the Cold War, China has supported Pakistan's demand for plebiscite in Kashmir. बट देखो अब क्या है, बिकॉज चाइना क्या है ना, चाइना इज अ बबल इकोनॉमी, ठीक है. What happens, see, just understand this thing. What happens in India, Indian manufacturing base is actually demand oriented. In our country, the things are produced when the basically the demand comes, all right. But China is a bubble economy. China is a supplier for the world, but their economies work like a bubble. Anytime they can burst. Anytime anything can happen. We just saw the things in during the time of COVID also, and today also. What is happening in China? There is a very deep systemic real estate crisis going on in China. The property rates during the previous decade has actually decreased in China. There are lots of, it is a economy based on supply. It first do the supply for the thing, then when people buy, then the company gets the money, then they pay back their loans. Okay, now it's a completely supply driven economy. They have to sell their products. For selling their products, they come through India, we buy their product. So the time when this is all linked in IR, everything is linked. The more we increase our commercial tie, what happened after the Cold War? USSR was not there. It was only USA, Russia. We could not expect that much that we expected from USSR. Now we already studied, we had to, after this disintegration of USSR, we had to diverse our trade with different countries. We diversified our trade with China. The more commercially India and China came together, the lesson their stance, their support for Pakistan in terms of Kashmir happened. Okay, and now after more commercial integration of India and China, the stance of China with regards to Kashmir is that they are not openly supporting Pakistan. That though we have achieved. Okay, now right, but after the Cold War era, क्या गिर गया? तुम शैतानियां कर रही होगी. क्या कर रही थी जो चश्मा गिर गया? टूटा? देखो जरा, बड़े महंगे आते हैं चश्मे. बच गया? ठीक है, लगा लो. विष्णु के साथ आज कोई दिक्कत चल रही है. विष्णु बोल नहीं पा रहा है कुछ. विष्णु, यू कैन टाइप. Not audible. People from Madhya Pradesh, people from MP. क्या हो रही है बातें? तुम कहाँ से हो? वाह, MP और राजस्थान हैं. कल्चरल यूनिटी, वाह, अगेन गेटिंग रिवाइव्ड. ज्यादा ही पास है. तुम कोटा से हो? कोटा से तो काफी दूर है. हाँ, राजस्थान में तो मैं भी कई जगहों पे गया हूँ. कोटा तो खैर वो है ना, वहाँ वो कोचिंग वोचिंग होती है बहुत. अब तो खैर मार्केट डाउन है वहाँ पे काफी. हाँ, अब प्लूटस स्टेम आ गया है ना. है ना, you know, here we have Plutus STEM also, where coaching is given for that NEET JEE वाला. वो भी है हमारे पास. यहाँ नहीं लिखा हुआ है. देखो, पब्लिसिटी कर रहा हूँ क्लास में. चलो आगे देखो. अब नाउ द थिंग इज कि लिखो आफ्टर द कोल्ड वॉर, है ना, एरा.
आपने कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछा?
अरे अब आ गई. विष्णु, यस, आई वांटेड टू हियर यू. व्हाट हैपेंड टू योर माइक?
कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो गया था इसलिए.
चलो, हो गया ना सही?
यस सर, नो फाइन.
All right, all right. So now, right, China has shifted to a neutral, to a moreover neutral stance. Has shifted to a neutral stance. shifted to a neutral stance, maintaining that Kashmir is a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan, and should be resolved through dialogue and negotiations. And sorry, why not? And should be कहाँ तक लिखी तू? Kashmir issue is a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan and must be resolved bilaterally. ठीक है, क्लियर? तुम बताओ और कुछ बचा है क्या? Anything is left? Commercial angle और लिख लो, right? Put a main heading India China commercial diplomacy. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा stats. See, what I will do is now when I will be over with all the bilateral relations between the countries and the regional relations. So after that, I will, like, with the help of a PDF, I will tell you all the recent developments. Okay, the recent summits. All right. For that, I will give you the document in a Word format. In that Word format only, you can add on whatever you want to. All right, you can do that. Okay. Sir, after 17 Doklam issue, na, in that document it is there. So what we will be doing is, in that document only 2015 wala India Nepal issue is also there. Okay. ये आपका श्रीलंका वाला जो है and Myanmar वाला issue is also there. All right. So वही ना, तो उसमें वो सारे issues, recent, all the clashes and everything is there. Everything is there. Okay. So we can basically refer to that. Okay. When we will be, you can basically like edit in that also whenever anything new happens, so you can use that document. Okay. So India China commercial diplomacy. In the next class we will be starting with India Nepal relations. Okay. नेपाल तो तुम्हारे पास ही में है, मेरा बॉर्डर नेपाल बॉर्डर ही पे है. कौन सा डिस्ट्रिक्ट है तुम्हारा? सीतामढ़ी. अरे हाँ, सीतामढ़ी तो नेपाल के पास हो गया भाई. कितनी खुश हो जाती है लाइक. अच्छा, लालू के नाम पे भी खुश होती है? नहीं, डोंट लाइक लालू है, ओनली लाइक नीतीश. निशांत तो कहाँ गया है सर? हाँ, मोदी ओनली. अच्छा, कहे निशांत कहाँ गया है सर? निशांत नहीं गया है अभी तक. है ना? निशांत बेचारा. लिखो, India and China have developed structural mechanism to promote economic cooperation. India and China have developed structured mechanism to promote economic cooperation. Okay. See, these ties started in 2003. After that, it was formalized in 2005. After that, in 2016, it was upgraded to finance minister meet, which is annual. Okay, so finance ministers meets annually. That summit happens. So right, financial dialogue was started in 2003, which was formalized in 2005. And was upgraded to finance minister level meet in 2016. Next point, right? upgraded to finance minister level meet in 2016? Right. India exports cotton yarn, copper, petroleum products, iron ore to China, and imports telecom equipments industrial machinery and electronics and hardwares from China. देखो वो बुद्ध भगवान को देख के नहीं लगता है कि पक्का चाइना से आया होगा। देखो एक बार ठीक से। हाँ, they are not, ऐसा नहीं है कि it is not like they are basically doing that कि official religion or something like that, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। They are communist। अरे चाइना लेबर कंट्री है, वो सब क्या धर्म वरम, लेबर कंट्री है। जितने इन होल ऑफ द वर्ल्ड every industrialist is sitting there in their own country and their factories are there in China। लेबर कंट्री है चाइना, इंडिया नहीं है। इंडिया बनना चाहता है but we don't have skills, and when we will become that country, the destination for manufacturing na, we will be somewhat, because we are democratic, we will be very, like I would say, excellent in that term। Why? अरे कोविड के टाइम पे what happened, you didn't saw that in a factory there was a revolt by the workers। That factory was the iPhone factory, and Chinese laborers literally revolted against that। they were they were captured, like thousands of laborers were captured inside that factory, and forcefully the work was done under pathetic conditions। India is not like that। लेबर कंट्री, कुछ औकात है इनकी, कुछ नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है। none of, अरे I am the person who never talk without any fact। none of their weapon has ever, modern weapon has ever been tested in the battlefield। none of the weapon has been ever tested in the battlefield। they have never used their military or the resources to showcase their skill in real time। but what we have done, we have already fought 1999 war, we have already fought 71 war, we have already fought several wars, and in the recent clash our weapons are 100% battlefield proven weapons। this time tested thing na, we have time tested military, but they have never ever tested anything in the real battlefield scenario। ठीक है, और कुछ नहीं है, नथिंग। दे जस्ट, आई वुड से, एक खिलौना तो इनका चलता नहीं है। हैं? अरे दे आर फेमस इन द वर्ल्ड फॉर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग द pathetic quality equipment or basically things। अरे कुछ नहीं है, तुम अभी टेंशन मत, थोड़े दिन रुको। नथिंग। वी आर द वर्ल्ड्स लार्जेस्ट, हाँ, अरे वी आर द वर्ल्ड्स लार्जेस्ट democratic country, giving people every kind of freedom they can, if the government can। Why? अरे now if you will expect the freedom, the same quality of freedom in our peripheries, na, then it can't be granted due to security reasons. I'm not saying it should not be given, but I'm saying कि due to security reasons, some limitations are there. But moreover, we are largest democracy. We are like the country where almost every religion can be found in the world that can ever exist. Okay, we have Jews, we have Bohemians, we have Christianity, we have Judaism, and every other religion, whatever you will name, we have. नहीं, रिलीजन के बेस पे नहीं, सब बेस पे हम देश को अच्छा बोल रहे हैं. हमारा देश सबसे बढ़िया. अरे you want, do you think America is good? Just have a look at the streets of America. People are becoming real-time zombies there. Drugs are their peak. Mass killings are happening almost every month. In the crowd, 18 people, 20 people, 100 people died because some Americans started shooting at the masses using their legal weapon. Arey, do you want economy or do you want economy with freedom? You cannot use WhatsApp, you cannot use Facebook, you cannot speak. Do you know? Yesterday only I told you something, I made you write about Tiananmen Square, na? Do you know what happened in Tiananmen Square? A student started protesting in China for democracy. They were killed, literally. Killed. Every single student was killed there. That was a Tiananmen Square incident. Do we want such a country, or we want a country with a bit lower level of development but with greater democratic credentials? अरे रियलिटी तो है ना, तुम बैठ के बिना लॉक के जो है मस्त एकदम पढ़ रहे हो, घूम रहे हो, सब काम कर रहे हो, तुम्हें दिक्कत क्या है बताओ? अब तुम कहोगे जो छोटे मोटे जो इंसिडेंट्स, हाँ नहीं कुछ नहीं है, अरे कुछ नहीं है उनके पास. इट इज अ आयरन वॉल्ड कंट्री. Media cannot enter. Do you know 80% of their population is just living near the ocean and the periphery? We don't know what lies in the center. अरे सिविलाइजेशन उनका कल परसों का, हमारा सिविलाइजेशन इंडस वैली का है. ठीक है, अरे तू चुप हो जा. इट इज डेवलप्ड. अब ये तुम्हारी बात हम बोलेंगे. इट इज डेवलप्ड ऑन पेपर. We have not even seen their villages.
So I'm not talking about that, sir, like this solar energy.
Acha, what is the definition of your development? Your definition of your development is GDP growth or equity? तभी तो मैं कह रहा हूँ चाइना सेकंड पे फर्स्ट पे भी आ जाए. इसका मतलब ये थोड़ा ही बढ़िया है. एग्जैक्टली. हाँ देखो मैडम कितना बढ़िया बोल रही है, एकदम सही बात. अरे तुम क्या बात कर रहे हो यार, इंडिया में डेवलपमेंट नहीं है? बहुत है. दिल्ली के बाहर, अरे हम दिल्ली के कौन सा है, हम तो दिल्ली के बाहर. आई हैव लिव्ड इन 8 स्टेट्स. डेवलपमेंट से तुम क्या समझते हो? भूटान, अब तुम भूटान को बोलोगे कि तुम्हारी जीडीपी कहीं है ही नहीं. From where you got this data? That is the myth, na? That is the myth. 80% of their population is just living in the peripheries. Do you want people to move out of the rural areas and go to the urban areas, or you want their rural life to be better? Better rural life चाहिए, लेकिन urban areas में भी जाना. नहीं जाना. अरे हैंग हो गया यार कंप्यूटर. अरे अपना देश सबसे बढ़िया है, तुम अभी समझ नहीं रहे हो. अरे तुम, हाँ हमारा देश सबसे बढ़िया है. हमारे देश के बाहर जाके देखो, तुमको पता लगेगा. अभी तुम यहाँ बैठ के बोलते हो हमारे देश में ये, अरे हाँ, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि तुम अपने देश का खाली अच्छा देखो बुरा ना देखो। अरे बुराई बहुत है हमारे देश में, बुराई बहुत है। See the politics, the level of politics. The time also had came when we have witnessed the lowest point of our society. For example, Nirbhaya gang rape case. We have witnessed the lowest point that a society can ever witness in its lifetime. Ever witness. We have witnessed such incidents, but we have overcame those things by bringing amendments to our laws, by modifying the things that were not right at that time, by bringing change, by accepting the reality. We found that there were some wrongs in the farm bill, we took it back. Can China ever do that? No, never. Yes, survive despite of being 1.4. अरे तुम रुक जाओ, अभी थोड़े बड़े हो, रुक जाओ। तुम्हें जब रियलिटी का तुम्हें ये लगेगा ना, when you will get to know about ना, अब देखो तुम एक देश तो नाम बताओ जो देश इंडिया से बढ़िया है। तुम देश का नाम बताओ जो इंडिया से बढ़िया है। टेल मी एनी वन सिंगल कंट्री। चाइना, जस्ट गो। नहीं, यू हैव वन टास्क, ओके। हाँ, इकोनॉमिकल, अरे इकोनॉमिकली ओनली, आई विल टेल यू इकोनॉमिकली ओनली। Just search on YouTube about the coffin houses in Hong Kong. Just go and just check the coffin houses in Hong Kong. Okay, coffin houses documentaries in China. Okay, just check about the real estate crisis in China. And third thing you just have to check about China is the bubble economy nature of China. These three things, just go and check. I told you na, everything is dependent on supply. They have already supplied everything. Now if the time will come when people will not buy that na, it will collapse. These three things just check. Okay, coffin houses in Hong Kong, bubble economy of China, and तीसरा क्या बताया? Recording देख लेना. Bubble economy, ठीक है, just go and check. All right, ये देख के और मुझे कल बताना फिर कि तुम्हें क्या देखने को मिला, ठीक है? अरे यहाँ जो है एक समिट होती है तो मीडिया वाले घरों में घुस के पूछते हैं कि तुमको क्या दिक्कत है यहाँ। Go to China, every single media is state sponsored. They will utter every single word whatever will be told to them by the president. तो तभी तो वही तो दिक्कत है। अरे नेचर, अब तुम कहोगे कि कोलोनियलिज्म वाज इट्स नेचर। अरे नेचर तो गलत है ना। हाँ, तो तब तुम कहोगे नेचर, यही बात तो चाइना बोलता है, इट इज चाइनीज डेमोक्रेसी। अरे इट इज चाइनीज प्रिंसिपल ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी। अरे व्हाट इज दिस यार? हाँ, 99.7% था। चलो, अब व्हाट वाज द लास्ट पॉइंट आई मेड यू राइट नाउ? हाँ, है ना, राइट? India exports raw material and imports finished and high value goods. नहीं हुआ अभी। चलो टाइम हो गया है, कोई नहीं, चलो कल करेंगे, ठीक है? और सुनो मेरी बात, फॉर द स्मॉलर कंट्रीज ना, प्लीज, बिकॉज दोज क्लासेस विल नॉट बी लॉन्ग क्लासेस की आज की मिस हो गई कल हो जाएगा, ठीक है? फॉर स्मॉलर कंट्रीज अटेंड एवरी सिंगल क्लास। इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास वी विल स्टार्ट इंडिया नेपाल। ओके, चलो हो जाएगा, बस अभी कुछ थोड़ा सा बचा है। ओके ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स,
Thank you.
बाय बाय,
Thank you, sir.
वेलकम, बाय बाय।